Hi, I'm back in the studio, Letty Krell from Spirit Sun Oils, and I am just now, after a quick break, I came back and had gotten some more studio equipment in today, so I'm really excited about that. I have a new drafting chair with a backrest and armrest, so it's really comfortable for me. It goes really far up or down. I received my studio lamp today, so you can get a better visual of what I'm doing here, so you can really see like the detail. And I'm really excited. I got my video camera today and all the equipment that I need to use in the studio, even a long-awaited projector that I've been wanting to do for portraits, because sometimes it's a little easier for me to do that way. Some people think it's cheating, but it's not, because it's just giving me a nice outline so that my proportions are correct. I am self-taught, so I have not had any formal education from any art schools. I was accepted into the Savannah College of Art and Design. It's the most acclaimed art school in the world, and I moved to Savannah, and it was $9,000 per class to go to school there. I could get funding for $9,000, which gives you one class, but you have to take two to go part-time there, so I never went to school there. I am completely self-taught. I have had classes from Elliot Fallis. He is a very well-known palette knife artist in the Dallas, DFW, Texas area. I took many classes for a few years from him. I also took a few classes from Lisa Clow from Lockery Fine Art. She's a fabulous artist. She's the one that pushed me into doing more fine detail and using brushes. So I started out first with the palette knife, and then started using brushes and a mixing medium called Liquid that helps your paint to dry quicker and have a little bit more gloss and sheen on the painting, and allows you to pick right up where you left off the next day, and it's not so wet, so it's really easy to use. I also, over the last 10 years, have been under the direction of Sean Cassidy from Boston. We met. He was one of my clients from my salon that I had there for 15 years. Him and his wife both came to me, Sean and Verna Cassidy. He is a professor of art from Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. He started giving me classes way back in the day, about 10 years ago, one-on-one, and he also has been giving me email direction ever since from Boston. And so other than that, I am completely self-taught, and I also used to work for Pino's Palette in Frisco for 6 months while it was here in the Frisco, Texas area. I really enjoyed teaching. I was one of the most asked for instructors there, and taught some of the largest classes that they had at the time. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started again. I'm working on the flowers in this area next to the tree. I want to bring in a little bit more depth behind the tree, a little bit more detail into the rocks, and a little bit more pinks and purples into the flowers, some smaller flowers, some grasses, a lot more detail. So if anyone has any questions when they're watching my videos, if you just post your name below, I can get in touch with you by private message. Or you can contact me through www.lettykrell.com, and that's www.lettykrell.com, lettykrell.com, lettykrell.com. If you are interested in any of my prints or paintings, you can also go to my website, lettykrell.com, which takes you to Fine Art America, where you can purchase prints. They will frame them and get them to the desired size that you like, and have them shipped right to you. Or if you want an original, you can private message me directly, and I will work with you on that. So I'm going to go ahead now and get started. I am going to change up my brush. I'm going to go to a very small script liner brush, a number 3 by Master's Touch. For the most part, that is the brushes I use, is Master's Touch. These are brushes for oil. So I'm interested in getting more detail, so I'm going with a smaller brush using my liquid. Make sure I have plenty of liquid on my palette box before I get started. Okay, so I have plenty of liquid out and ready to use. So this brush is a little bit smaller, gives a little bit more detail into the paint. Now, as you can see from what I did earlier, there's a lot of depth in here. And the way I got that depth is I laid in my darks first. I went in with black, I went in with darker reds, purples, and laid all my color in first that was dark. And then I started building up color, going lighter as I went, leaving the dark behind so that it looks super like in the distance, like dark. It makes your flowers pop, it makes some of your leaves pop. So I'm just going to go in with a little liquid and some dark green, and I'm going to add a little bit of gray to that because I want it a little bit more muted instead of so bright out of the tube. And I'm just going to go in, it's kind of a bluer green when you mix it with the gray because gray is cool. I just want to add in a little bit more of a cool tone like evergreen with a smaller brush, so I'm going to be really careful about where I place this color. I don't want to add a lot, so that's why I'm using a tiny brush. I feel like it gives the painting more excitement the further that you stretch your palette into the tone. So instead of mixing it with white to get lighter, I mixed it with a gray. Some of you have been asking what kind of music I listen to, and I change it up a lot. It's not always the same thing. But today I have on Christian music from a radio station here in Dallas. There's 3 different radio stations that I bounce between, so I'm not going to name which one it is. But I think it's really important that you listen to what you gravitate to. So this Christian music is just something that I really enjoy. A lot of times I'm meditating and not teaching when I'm painting. So I'm bringing in what the Holy Spirit wants me to paint. That's partly where I got my name for my business. It's really important for me to listen to what God says for me to do, and He's given me a gift, and this is my 1% that not everybody has. This is something that I've been gifted, and so I listen to what He tells me to do, and one of those things was that I'm supposed to paint. So I still have my salon. I do men's hair, and I really enjoy that. I've done hair for 35 years. But painting is another one of those outlets that's really creative that I enjoy doing. Alright, now I'm mixing some of my darker blue with my purple and adding in some liquid. And then I'm going to add just a touch of white. It gives me a really pretty blue. And you can adjust the color as you need. If you feel like it needs more purple, then you can add more purple. This brings a very cool blue color. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue up in here. It's the same similar technique that I used the first time. But not very much because I want to bring that blue down in here. Because I want it to look like it's the same batch of flowers across the road as it is here. See, now it has a cohesive manner to it. And this is some darker red. I'm bringing that down in here. And that same red, I'm going to put a little bit in this tree. Just to give it a little bit of contrast. Kind of through the trunk, through some of the darker areas. I already have put some blue in here. And I'm going to go back and grab some more green. some of that same cornflower blue. I'm going to bring some in on this side of the tree. I am not afraid of color. I absolutely love a bright, brilliant, colorful painting. It's funny, I was doing my website and my guy Aaron that was helping me with it, we were talking about Bob Ross and how fun he is. Like, I know some people have given him a bad name, but if you watch his videos, he's really pretty funny. And my middle name is Rose, so we were like, oh, the Letty Ross Rose of videos we should come out with. And I have been told I'm pretty funny, so like he says, there is no mistake in art. We'll just make this little bloop tree or a bird. And I find that pretty humorous because that's how life is. Like, it is what you make it. So if you make it positive, it is. And if you make it negative, it also will be. So what you think about, you bring about. Alright, so I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, give it a little highlight here and there. I like to lay in my darks, come back later with my lights. My darks are the shadows, my lights are the highlights. And this day in the mountain scene, if you look at it, it looks like even though it's a sunny day, that it has some crispness in the air. So it's cool outside. The mountains have a little bit of snow on them, so I am putting more of a whiter, cooler highlight on the left side of this pine tree because it could have snowed that day, right? It's hard to say. It's all about your imagination. Art is amazing that way. You can create whatever you want. It's your painting. Some people say, what in the world would you do with a brush like this? Well, I like this brush for trees. It's awesome for the leaves. So I'm going to put it in some olive green, some darker, more mossy, warm green. And I am going to pat that in to the side of the tree. I just like how this brush makes it look loose in there. And now while my brush still has green on it, I dipped it in the black. I want to go back in with a little bit more dimension. I'm not going to cover up all my light, all that work that I just did. But I want to bring out a little bit more depth to the branch of the tree. I'm using the fan brush now.